Arcs, I'm Anamana, and this is KingKazma. You're listening to Oracle Fleet Podcast, episode 21, your weekly podcast for PSO2 news, and also New Genesis now. Information specifically for global servers of PSO2. Today, we're joined by two streamers and content creators, SilhyGames and also Dynemanti. Thank you very much for your time and welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
Hello, welcome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm doing good. I'm excited. You know, it's just like a day and a half now, right?
Yep.
Can't wait.
Really close.
My heart's out of my chest. My Rappy plushies are all arranged. My playing cards are ready. You know, we can play Blackjack. I'm ready. We're good. Let's go.
Yep. Without the what's the character's name? Meow Scam.
Hey, you know what? He's an important part of that experience. We got to have him. You bring him to New Genesis. Meow and New Genesis. Hashtag. Come on.
I think in about is it like 7.5 hours? We'll be on 3 days time, I think, from that when we're recording this now. King, how are you doing us all today?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. I'm doing absolutely great. Just really excited and very tired. A lot of pre-week prep going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely. So we're gonna start with oh wait, did I just cut someone off?
No, you're good. I'm sorry. I'm just really bad at reading cues.
That's all good. We're going to go into guest Q&A. So I'm going to start with Dynemanti. When did you start with the Phantasy Star series?
I mean, I was aware of Phantasy Star on Genesis because when I got the Genesis, it came with that big poster with all the like here's all the games. It's basically an advertisement, but they're like hang this up in your wall.
Yeah.
And so I knew about it there. It always looked cool, but the Genesis was technically my older brother's, so I never really got to play too many games on it. But it always stuck in my mind, like, oh, this is a series, right?
Yep.
And then GameCube Phantasy Star Online, my friend picked it up. He had played the Dreamcast version, and hacked the hell out of it. He had like all these crazy stories. PvP, you know, like the PvP hack to kill people and take their items on the field and stuff.
Yeah.
He messed around with that, and he's like, hey, let's just play, you know. And we played through, and yeah, it was just, that was good. And like that just dovetailed into a Monster Hunter obsession after that, because I learned about that. And then played Universe, played 2 when it got the Japanese beta, and kept playing 2 on and off for years until NA came out. And that's, you know, brings us to here.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like we don't talk enough about the shenanigans that happened in PSO1, because what they called it, there was nulling, which was basically where people would replace your character with another character and basically wipe everything, I think.
Yeah, there was a bug where if it so when you disconnected or connected to a server, it would upload your items to the host.
Yeah. And
so they could then write or change it, or if you disconnected at a certain point during the write process, it would just delete all your items.
Yeah. There was like Black Rester is what they called it, where basically people could heal and it would instead go in negative and just kill them.
Yeah, something like that. There was a couple. Yeah. I didn't mess with those too much. I just know the stories, you know.
Yeah, the stories.
And, yeah, you could also just turn PvP on anywhere. Like there was that, because there was the PvP, the battle arena mode, which was even worse than it is in PSO2.
It
somehow.
Really was. Because
you could just put it on anywhere. Just one shot, because the stats were so wonky in that game. And
also, like, that's the reason why they brought out version 2 of the Dreamcast version, was to patch all that stuff, right?
Yeah, so apparently like I said, I started with the GameCube, so I don't know all the details. I looked it up afterwards, but they said it was like it fixed that item thing. There was a lot of stuff, like there wasn't a way to patch anything, so they had to release another version, and it was like half a full price game or something like that.
Yeah,
you know? Basically an expansion.
Interesting looking back. Silly, what's your Phantasy Star origin?
This is gonna be like really heretical, I'm sure, for a lot of people out there who are Phantasy Star purists. I started with Universe, the black sheep, you know, and honestly, it came out of the same kind of thing. Like I had a friend who played back in the wild days of PSO, back on Dreamcast, back on GameCube, and yeah, that was a weird time because like you think about it, that's before we started doing all this server side architecture for like MMOs and stuff. So you had all these weird things that could happen, like Dynemanti and Anamana we're just talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, I came into it. They were telling me all these crazy horror stories, not even horror stories, just really things that would never have happened at this point in time. And they were like, yeah, you need to get into this. It's PSU. It's the same thing. It's cool. We got into it. It was nothing like that, but it was a very unique game. And I was there on the North American servers. I think back then they were North American. They weren't global, but
yeah.
The North American servers up till the servers actually shut down, which I'll admit, the way everything kind of went down, it was really sad because seeing the community kind of spiral a little bit with everything that was happening, because there was a lot of I feel like it was a lot of panic and worry about what Sega's intentions towards North America was. And I'd like to think that with everything that's gone down, the PSO2 global team has done great at assuaging those concerns 8 years later. But it was a really amazing time. I remember there was a time when I got really mad at one of my friends because we had the Vol Casino, the Vol Real, I think it was, or something like that, was one of the places where there you go. And it was amazing. So they had a prize that you needed that was actually in-game materials to get like your Sangi Yasha or the Chevalier Edge. I remember there was 1 week I couldn't do it, and that was the boost week. We were getting 10 coins a day. It was like, this is your one chance to really be guaranteed to get this thing that's like a really insane amount of coins. And I left my account in the hands of my brother.
Oh no.
It went about as badly as you could expect. So and I was so bad. But honestly, it was a great experience. PSU is again, it has a really special place in my heart, and I was really hurt. I was really sad when a couple of years later, PSO2 is coming to North America all the way up until the release date, and then the plane started gliding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh man, you can't do this to me, Sega. Then it came out 8 years later, and I mean, I even played on the JP a little bit around episode 5 for about 2 years. And then I kind of stopped mostly because I didn't have anyone really to play with at the time. And JP was a whole different animal when it comes to getting an alliance together of, especially English speakers. Never know when the bandwave's going to come around.
Yeah.
At least back then it was a reasonable concern. Nowadays, not so much. But then I started playing global right around the release. Unfortunately, did not have an Xbox One, so that's why in all my videos you hear me going on for PC players. But it's been a wonderful time. I've enjoyed every little bit of it, and I'm honestly just happy to stream and hang out with the rest of this community. I'm just a regular guy, man. I play video games.
When what you were saying about Universe, like people panicking about it going offline, like we've had a few people that are worried about PSO2 dying, but at least it's staying on in comparison to like PSO1 and like Universe. It's like you can't play that officially anymore.
Yeah, I wish they would give us a little more information about how exactly, like, if you think about it, a lot of PSO2 revolves around the market, and with the community, so goes the market. So like, you're not going to be able to get a lot of like doing Veterans Resolve Crack 5 units is probably going to take you 3 or 4 months now because you have to farm it all yourself. You can't buy it from people. They're not. So I wish they would give us a little more detail on what's going on there. Like photoner augments are also going to be really hard to get. You're not going to be able to farm Cradle anymore. It's not going to be enough people usually. So I wish they would give us a little more like assurance, like, hey, here's what it, because I wanted to make God units just to have, to like that pin on my cap, right? And I didn't have time because, the launch date was announced so suddenly, and I'm like, damn it, like if we had another 2 weeks, I probably could have figured it out.
Yeah. So the other thing we don't know is that, like, we don't know if with the fixes and stuff and farming like that, we don't know how many people are going to be sticking around, and whether or not, I guess, as well, if there's going to be passionate people that are going to be, filling that market spot as well, I guess, with PSO2 and New Genesis. But I think as well, another quick little point is that A lull period is to be expected with New Genesis, but I think there's limited content there, so maybe it'll. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I was kind of hoping was we might see like glare receptor, like stuff we haven't had yet show up, like glare receptor. Maybe we'll see the capsules that are in the mission badge show up in like SG scratch or something like that. You know what I mean? Like they have that SG scratch. It does have a lot of empty space. It's like one of the items is like 40% rate. They could fill that out a little bit with some of the stuff, crack, veterans resolve, some of the stuff that might be harder to farm with a lower population.
Yep.
And hopefully that's, and obviously they haven't announced it yet. It doesn't mean it's not coming. They might already have plans for that. And they might just see, they might do it as a reactionary, like, oh, we see that it's a problem, we're gonna fix it.
Yeah.
Whereas right now they don't know that it's a problem yet.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus New Genesis PSO2's classics relationship versus like how Universe went down, it's a little bit different, right? Because Universe, the whole thing was it was like it had a very weird relationship with PSU JP. Which Dynemanti, you've talked about it before about the economical reasons for that, but as a player who was on the ground at the time, it was really kind of disheartening because you had instances where it was like 6 months down the line, you might get some of the content they had, and it might be watered down or it might just not be working, and it was just, there was a real sentiment at the time that Sega was leaving NA out in the sun just to get their subscriptions, and it's sad because now coming back to PSO2 Global, like for the last year, PSO2 Global's team has really busted their butts for us. Sorry, wanted to make sure I'm self-censoring. And it's really apparent now. Like we had early on, the SG controversy was a big deal. Me and you were joking about that, Anamana. And it was legitimate. There were some legitimate concerns there, but people got really upset about it. And you know what? The first thing they did was they actually listened. They tried to help us out. They gave us campaigns to help us out with Star Gems. New exchanges were right on the top there. They were expedited to alleviate those concerns. If anything should give you a lot of comfort going into New Genesis, it's that, they're listening. It's not another PSU. Because PSU was bad. Let me rephrase. PSU was good. The way it happened and went down at the end was unfortunate. Yeah. But it's not going to be one of those, it looks like. There's a lot of concerns about what's going on in PSO2 Classic which is just what I call it, but PSO2 Classic after New Genesis comes out, the UQ schedule is a big concern because I feel like that's one of the things that's going to keep people coming back to the game afterwards. But honestly, I trust them to do what they can. That's what I'll say. After everything that's gone down, I trust PSO2 Global to do what they can to try and ease our transition with that.
Yeah. I will say.
Yeah, I hope they do. Sorry.
I will say that development is like a moving train. You can see the platform ahead, the thing that you want to change, but it takes time to actually get to that point, and sometimes you're going to pass it. Like it's not going to be next week we'll just turn on that switch and it's going to happen. It's going to be like, no, we need to develop that, and then like it could be like a few weeks or a few months later that actually becomes live as well, which is I think a reality that people need to realize. But
absolutely. I mean,
sorry,
I was going to say that. So, I'm sorry, I'll get out quick. But I was going to say that's the one thing everybody was going on about. What is a beta? A beta in a software's development cycle is usually way at the end. Like all the fundamental decisions, the stuff that's going to be there in release, it's already done. And you have to get past that and realize, it's a live service game. There's a lot of stuff that may get cut, that may not make it. But for the most part, there's some things we need to work about, and it's not necessarily going to be there on release. Like my big thing was I personally felt like micro detail in the world needs a lot of work. I was totally willing to give Sega another year if they wanted to take it personally, but hey, you know what? Sega's really good at playing games. That's how I've looked at it. Maybe my sleeves are way too short for this, but maybe they got another deck up here, that they're going to pull out and say, look, this is what we hid from you the first time in the CBT. So really, you just got to be willing to hit the ground running and run with them, support the community, support the game. And they're going to absolutely do what they can to stand by us and give us wonderful content.
Yep. Okay, we'll go into the next question. What classes do we play? We'll start with Silver or SilhyGames. You've technically got both names. So if on the podcast you hear me say Silver and SilhyGames, and you've also got Silhouette, right? So Just for any confusion for
Got a
audience.
million of them. I've got a million of them. Don't worry about it. JW guy, Ursus.
I played Ranger when I started as Ursus. You know, a big cast, man. It was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. It's a very nice support class. But upon touching Bouncer exactly one time, I started using Soaring Blades, and it was enough. Like, seriously, I fell so much in love with these things that it was enough for me to turn one of my SG farming alts, who just was there to totally farm women's clothing for SG, into one of my main characters that I play all the time now because I love them so much. It was enough to put me on Etwall forever.
Oh wow!
And use the worst weapon in the Etwall's arsenal because I just love Soaring Blades so much, which is fun because I know Chrono also is of a similar mindset, and it's fun because like I'm always like, you know, I wish me and Chrono were on the same ship just so like it could be like a thing where we're like, all right, are you the best Soaring Blades bad DPS man or am I? You know?
That's fair. Yep. And Dynemanti, what class do you play?
In PSO2 right now, I'm just playing a lot of Luster. Just something about it. I mean, it's so mobile and has so much like freedom of movement. Not just like its dash, but also, you know, if you hold the jump button, it does that rising attack, and you can just keep doing that, keep doing it. You could hit the ceiling on any map, basically. And so that allows you to travel to any part of any boss and hit them very precisely. It's kind of one of the things I like the most about PSO2 is like having all these different regions to hit and the weak spots being here or there and like using that strategy. It's very much like Monster Hunter in that regard, so I like that.
Yeah, that's fair. And King's still playing Luster, right?
Actually, I just got rid of all of my gunblades today.
Oh,
Are you going to fighter?
all?
Yep. Because as much as I love Luster, contrary to popular belief, I actually do not favor the class over regular gunblade. Although Luster is great, Luster is highly optimal, great combos, it's really fun to play. I do find more enjoyment playing the OG gunblade. There's more options, more ways to play. Plus, if I mix it up with Tector, then I can add tech to my abilities and just do even more damage. It's a lot more fun. My only problem with playing Tector Fight or Tector Luster is that I play controller, so shifting through my palette is a pain in the butt, so I just don't do it as much. But yeah, I just got rid of everything today and just went full on fighter.
Interesting. I've actually swapped from Force Phantom to Force Etoile. I got my first clear on HTPD and managed to S rank my first run. That I
Damn,
got
that's
clear.
hurting me.
It's painful.
Congrats.
It is painful. I've been pugging it. That's the problem. Like, don't get me wrong. Look, people. We have one of the best communities out there, and I love them to death. But man, when it comes to HTPD, it really puts you up against the blade's edge here, and you're just like, man, I don't know if you're gonna make the cut, and I'm sorry, and I love you. You just gotta go.
Yeah,
because it's like
This
It's
is going to be a controversial topic, but when JP got HPTD, they had expert mode. So,
yeah.
you know, just saying,
it's
works.
that battle power, but for PSO2 Classic, and this is one of the ones where you miss it.
It's in every way a worse system, and it's just a generally badly designed system, but it works. It gets the results that you need. Unfortunately, it's the only way to do that. Like, there's no other way to figure out whether people are qualified to do something or not.
Yeah.
So,
I'm
glad battle power is coming.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. We'll get into that like in a little bit, but what kind of content do we find ourselves with PSO2? This is the last time we're going to be asking this for PSO2, but before it blends in with New Genesis, what kind of content do we find ourselves enjoying the most? We'll start with Dynemanti.
I've always just enjoyed emergency quests, which is kind of why I'm sad that the schedule's going. I wish they would at least make like a static schedule, like, okay, Monday is going to have HTPD at 9 every week for the rest of the year, something like that. You know what I mean? So there's at least a little stability, and then people know when to log on. Because, you know, with NGS, you can hop over, but if you don't know when an EQ is happening, you're not going to hop over. You know what I mean? So that's always been a thing. and I just like doing like casual stuff. You know, sometimes I do my divides on the week, but yeah, I just really like log in, to run through your dailies, do some EQs whenever they pop up. And that's the thing, is like EQs, they add the spice, because if you don't look at the schedule all the time, you're like, oh yeah, I'll go do that. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not always there, so when it pops up, you're like, oh yeah, actually I will.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of wish almost endless quests or something like that were more limited, so this way I feel like, oh, now's the time to do them. Whereas now it's like, I got so much other stuff going that I haven't really even done that many endless quests.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Silly, what about you? Favorite content type?
You guys are gonna like crucify me at the end of this, man. I enjoy gambling in my video games. You know, scratch tickets are like honestly one of the biggest things I look forward to. Don't get me wrong, I love all kinds of stuff. I like doing weird stuff off the path, right? Not because I'm trying to be a hipster, but just because I ended up weirdly that way. I love challenge mode. I love battle arena, weirdly enough, but it's so hard to get a good party going at times. You know, you gotta go into Saturday night and get. Yeah, I have to go in at Saturday night and get my butt kicked by all the like really hardcore people. But you know, I'm gonna get that emote out of that battle mode exchange shop one day. But yeah, no, honestly, I love scratches and stuff. That's my I love like having a new thing come out and be like, oh, I want that, I want that emote, you know, stuff, and then playing with it. Like new Scratch Wednesday is like always like one of the big things on my stream and everything. So that I do like a good fight though. Phaleg was probably one of my favorite bits of content in all of PSO2 Classic. I really like that. She beat me too many times, but it was a lot of fun.
Phaleg was good. King, recent content you're enjoying?
Right now it has been endless. I've been recently, actually today, I was sitting with Tier 1 and I was watching, I don't know if you guys know him, the Braver Millander Bowl. I was watching him play. Randall. I was watching him play some Braver with Reyna. Another Reyna. I was like, hold on, there's another Reyna? And apparently this Reyna is like an incredible fighter. So I'm sitting here watching them play this crazy game of Endless. And the one thing I never got into in PSO2 was Endless. I don't know why. It just never like appealed to me. I guess it's because I didn't know all of the metrics to the quest itself. But watching those two play and like all the positioning, it was like they were already playing New Genesis. They were like in this whole other world, this whole space, and they're sitting at like 200 mil, 200 million points, and yet they still have like 50 minutes on the clock.
Yep.
I'm just like, wait a minute, how is this even possible? So we're sitting there for like the better part of an hour or two, watching them play. And now all of a sudden, like, I want to do it. I'm like, okay, this is something that I want to get into. So now I'm like taking all the classes and playing everything in PSO2 now. And I'm just like testing different classes and really trying to break the metal. And it's also putting me in a really good position to want to do that in New Genesis as well. But Endless is definitely something I didn't think would be so tough. Also because I just recently found out that after about 5 laps on Eternal Randall, it actually buffs the enemy's power in defense and their health and everything, so they get stronger as you keep going. I did not know any of this.
Yeah, Randall and also Rena are like 2 of the top 3 players for all of PSO2.
Yeah. Also AIS content. We need that. We need more of that. I love that so much.
I saw Rena. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Sorry, I'm just over here mumbling. I'm sorry. I love AIS stuff. We don't have enough of it. We need more. Bring it to New Genesis.
Yes, please. But like,
the idea, the implementation. I like the idea. The implementation was not good. What they could do is replace the Dark Blast system with like a customizable AIS. That would be cool. That's what I've been trying to promote. That idea. Throw it out there. Maybe somebody will hear it.
Let me customize AIS so that I may turn my AIS into a Gundam and have full enjoyment.
Yeah, change out the rocket launcher for a flamethrower, change out the sword for a spear, or whatever. It would be neat to have
cast parts on your AIS.
Just make it so you press a button and the Armored Core title screen pops up.
Yeah, exactly. I want my what was that? What was the name of that? The beam rifle that's in every Armored Core, like Kurosawa or Kawasaki.
Yep.
Yeah, like give me one of those. Like, let me switch between that and like give me the tank legs or the spider legs. You know, that would be so cool.
Forget Photon
and
Dash. Just start like
Yeah.
overboosting through New Genesis.
Well, right,
Yeah,
like
they could like fold all those Dark Blast abilities into one thing and let you just pick and choose which ones you want at
Yeah.
any given. You know, like
just give us a flesh AIS that we can just take the body parts. Now, what I was gonna say was like, what if in New Genesis instead of like we got Photon Dash motions, what if there's mounts or there's an AIS one or something, right?
That's something we
Yeah.
were talking about like in my alliance too. We were like really excited when they started releasing the motions, because it's like 2 of those motions that we've seen so far, those are emotes in PSO2 Classic. Swim is just the male version of Swim from PSO2 Classic, and the Rappy Idol is either, I think it's Enemy 2, the female version, or the female version of Rappy is without the graphical effects. Like, how many things could you pull from Classic to make new motions? What if you took Rodeo Pose, and you know how we were making bikes with those? Now you're just driving down the countryside in your little half-made
Exactly.
bike.
And it'll improve those bikes by a whole lot. Yeah, I was thinking that too. They could put all the Dark Blast forms as like just this, you know, not the whole animation where you transform, just like a quick pop into it and pop out of it. Stuff like that, like the AIS, all this sort of stuff. It would be neat.
Yeah.
It
Sorry,
could really be the foundations of a mount system for us. Like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Sorry, King. We just like took your discussion about Endless and just like.
No, you're
True,
good. I'm
understand,
here
man.
for it because, like, as you guys are talking about it, I'm just thinking, what if we finally get another Final Fantasy crossover and it's 7 this time? And as soon as you start Photon Dashing, your character just like materializes Cloud's motorcycle and just starts riding through. It just sounds awesome now.
What if it's like Final Fantasy 14? The BGM plays in the background while you're driving.
Oh my god! Yeah.
And like now that you said that, I'm just imagining. You remember that shot from Advent Children where he does the Fenrir and he's like spinning around and they're like the 2 bikes are spinning around each other? That could be your out of Photon Dash attack. You know, you do that big slash.
Yeah.
It could be they could just the spinning bike thing with the big sword, and then oh man, they could do so much stuff with it.
Yeah.
If you're in the
so much
AIS,
potential.
your character could jump out like bah and slash down like
Yeah, so watching this broadcast and just being like, "Yo, you guys are asking for a lot." Bro.
Look, emotions
stuff they
are
could
one of
do.
the biggest things. Sorry, go
it's
ahead.
stuff they could do, and it's stuff that would give them so much money.
Oh
It
yeah.
would.
Yep.
They could pop that in the shop for $50 and I'd buy it.
Let's not get too carried away.
I bought mounts for $30 in 14, you know.
Yeah. Do we have a favorite moment from our time at PSO2? I'm gonna start with King. What's your recent favorite?
Recent favorite moment. Oh yeah, so I screwed up my ship transfer again.
Oh, really?
Yep. But here's the thing: even if you do not have a character on the ship, all of your items stay. So thank God I was able to go back and make a BS character on ship 2 and just transfer him back over to ship 1. So now I'm gonna have 3 characters on ship 1. Yay! But when I transferred my character, I put everything in premium stores like a dummy because I got fascinated. So my hit was not in the right space. That is my excuse. I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
I put everything in premium storage instead of character storage, and then I swapped my character. So when I came to ship 1, I'm like, wait, where's all my outfits? Because I have like all 30 sets ready for New Genesis. So I'm like, where's everything? And then I'm thinking, oh no, it's back on ship 2 in my premium storage. So when I remade my character, went in, I went to go check, everything's still there. Thank God it doesn't delete when you lose all characters on a ship. Had to go and do that, and that just became a whole day. Had a nice little shot of whiskey after that because it scared the holy crap out of me.
Did you chase it with
Logan
some
got lost in
Tabasco?
the airport.
Actually, no. I ended up chasing it with I wanted to try Ghost Reaper Pepper.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I
Different
love
form
hot
of
stuff.
napalm.
Yeah, it hurt a lot more actually.
So, a shot that I encouraged King to do when they were doing the beta, and also charity stuff, was you take a shot of Tabasco, you swish in your mouth, and then you take it 5 seconds later a shot of whiskey, and it's like because the pores of your or the taste buds are opened up, and then it amplifies the heat with the whiskey.
Yeah. Yeah, it also Tabasco will clear out all the like
Sobers you
everything in your mouth. Oof.
it also destroyed my throat. So granted, they asked me to stream, or I had to sing afterwards because we hit another milestone. So I sounded like complete crap because my throat was destroyed at that point. Although I will say we did hit 500 out of 1,000 toward the end of the stream. So I'm actually happy with that little piece right there.
500 goes a long way.
Heck yeah.
All right. Favorite moment for Dynemanti?
Sorry, just rephrase the whole question for a second.
So favorite moment of your time of PSO2?
Favorite moment, like the whole time I've been playing, or just recently?
If it's easier, just recently. Like, what's the thing like the last year with PSO2 that stood out?
I guess, I've been following, you guys had Sammy on before, right?
Yeah.
I've been following him for a while. So actually, him getting into the game was on Sammy's list. That's Sammy.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. Everyone should check him out. Twitch.tv/HotSammySliz. Anyway, so I had played Monster Hunter a lot with him, and that's actually how I met him, through Twitch. He was playing Monster Hunter, and then we did offline meetups and all sorts of stuff. And I never thought, because he was always like, I don't like MMOs. Monster Hunter's the only game I like. That was the only game he was playing. And then I had been hitting him with it for a while, and then Lavrin was hitting him with it, and then everybody in the community was like, oh yeah, it's coming out in English. And he's like, all right, I'll give it a shot. And the first day he spent 7 hours in the casino. He literally got to level 3. He did 2 missions and then went to the casino and was like, oh yeah. and then he started to see the appeal of MMOs. It's like, you have a variety of content. You have all these people on. Everybody could come hang out. Everybody was dancing in the lobby and oh, this. He's like, oh man, this is actually cool.
Yeah.
Now he's trying 14. He's like, he's just like, oh man, maybe I'm an MMO guy. This whole time he hated MMOs, and then he's like, shit.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Seeing new people get into it that I knew would like it if they gave it a chance, but because there were these barriers, if it was in Japanese and before and all this other stuff, they never wanted to give it a shot. But it's so cool to see that.
Yeah. Silver, what about yours?
There's a lot of them, but probably the best one was when we accidentally abducted someone into our cult of an alliance with a motorcycle gang.
Really?
So Rodeo Pose, let me set the scene. Rodeo Pose had just released. It was amazing. We all built bikes. All of them look different. We're all different colors, and we're all got these fancy helmets on, and some of us are dressed in suits, other ones are doing all kinds of other things. But we're all sitting in the lobby. There's a bunch of us, just motorcycles lined up and all that stuff. And we're just having a good time. We're just goofing around. Someone is standing next to the camp ship entrance, and they turn and look at us, and they stare at us for a long time. We notice they have no alliance above their head.
Yeah.
And it's just a joke. We're like, all right, guys, roll out. He's giving us the cross look, so we all wheelie up and start circling the guy a little bit. He's like, who are you people? And it was really great because while we're talking to him, we're just joking around, having a good time. Myself and one other, Sal Cine, I think Anamana has a lot of amazing costumes. We transform into these Lillipins with the balloon bosoms and maid outfits and stuff. We start dancing in unison behind him and abducting him into the cult and stuff like that. It was just a really great time altogether. That guy's still with us.
Yeah,
he'll never forget that guild join for the rest of his life.
I think for me recently, in terms of I think honestly it's been preparing for New Genesis, because the alliance I'm in now, tier 1, one of the reasons why, so I used to run a firm, and then I handed it over to the people that were legitimately running it, because I didn't have time to run it myself. And then I joined another alliance, and then I ended up streaming with Cammy one day, and the voice chat, I just got along with everyone, and I legitimately had friends. Previous firm members actually were in that one now, and those were they were local friends as well, so I ended up moving over there. And recently it's been really good just hanging out in voice chat. That's been the big thing lately, is just preparing for New Genesis, and also just having a I guess, a group of friends that like I really connect with, kind of thing, has been really good.
Yeah, that's like I was saying, MMOs, man, that social aspect. It sometimes people discount it, but it can really add a life to the game.
Yep.
Like well past when you're actually done with the game itself, you're like, I don't want to grind anymore. But you wind up doing a little bit, and you're just having fun hanging out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
the multiplayer aspect of it absolutely extends the life of the game. Like honestly, I've been done with PSO2 Classic except for HTTPD for so long. But
yeah,
just being able to come in every night on a firm, into a firm and hop into the voice chat and hang out with GB, Sal, and everybody else, and occasionally hit up some content, maybe do something else, whatever comes up. It really does add a whole new dimension to the game.
Absolutely. All right, New Genesis. So, let's just get like a temperature rating. How excited are we for New Genesis? We'll start with Silver. We'll go back around.
Excited, yes. I'm absolutely excited. Like, you can't stop me from being excited. But I'm guarded about everything. I mean, I think you guys know that. I'm in ARC's council. I talk about what I'm concerned about and all this stuff all the time. But I am absolutely excited. So much so that I can't help but speculate wildly about every single possible feature that could be in the game. Like, I'm actually working on something right now about, residential areas, player quarters and stuff. They said they weren't going to be there at release, but I'm seeing things. And I'm like, could it be? Is it possible? Yeah. I'm really looking to get on the road and start walking, because I know they're putting a lot of stuff. They got a 6-month plan so far. More than that, of course, but 6 months with like actual details right now. That as the sooner we're on it, the more stuff we are hoping for and wanting is going to come out. And honestly, I really want to see what this new world of PSO2 is going to be. Yeah. What it's going to turn out to be. I want to see all my fears realized and absolved, and I also want to see all the things I'm looking forward to finally come to pass, because it really is a new game. A new experience, and I'm totally hyped for it.
Yep. Oh yeah, same. Dynemanti.
Yeah, I mean, dovetail off what he's saying. The whole like new experience is like that's really exciting to me too, because while I did start with PSO2 in beta, I played on and off. So usually I would come in a while after a patch had dropped, and then NA is like when I got to fully experience the game, and everything had already been figured out, right? And like everything was like, don't get this because in the next episode there's going to be something 10 times better. You want to save the, save your affixes, save your materials, all this sort of stuff. And the fact that they've slimmed it down is, there's just everything's pared down. The only thing that is I'm trying to cool my expectations a little bit is I know launch is going to be very slim. Like I think a lot of people have started to talk about like, oh, there's going to be all this stuff, and it's like, if we look at what they've said is going to be there, what we've seen in game, there might not be that much to do other than just like grinding. Like it'll be like episode 3 ultimate grinding style stuff. But we're gonna get triggers and what are those defense quests, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I guess like mining base type thing.
Possible.
Or bust. Hopefully more towards like busters, because those were a little bit better. Mining base was a little sleep, but so hopefully that adds some more layers, and we'll get those soon enough. So I'm trying to temper my expectations there a little bit, so this way I don't go in and get a little disappointed, because I've had that where you build it up and it doesn't meet it, you'll feel bad even if the game is great. You know what I mean? That's like the Fable games. They were always built up, and they were good games. They were good games even for their time. Like they were good. I think they're still worth playing now, but he promised the moon and he couldn't deliver that.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to keep that tempered. I'm super hyped. It's the first brand new game launch that I've been excited about since like Black Desert, maybe that years. Yeah, long time. So that'll be nice. All the people coming in, new information. It's all like when we were mining through that beta, that was like the most fun to me. Like, oh, this is a this costs this much and this costs this much, and if you add this up and you get these percentages and here's the attack powers, and nobody knows this stuff. It's all blank slate.
Yeah.
So I like the discovery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it.
Yeah. What about King? What are you excited? Are you excited?
I am crazy excited, actually. So, like I said, at first I was actually not too excited because I knew I was going to have to go to work that Wednesday and Thursday. But I got some hours, and so I'll now be able to take off Wednesday and Thursday and just completely dedicate those days to New Genesis. It's so much that's already planned. And like between having TikTok made and going to start doing like PSO2 videos on that, and having YouTube, and then starting up Gilded, and then all these other plans and setting up, it's a big refresher. Because the one thing with PSO2 is like I've always been scared to like say something and then say the wrong thing, but with New Genesis we're just free to experiment. And everyone has like that fresh start to just try new things, and it's okay to be wrong now because we have no one there to kind of validate things. We just have someone to have this discussion until it's validated. So it makes me extremely excited because I love tinkering with stuff. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of, I know this is a little bit of a side comment here, but I don't know if you guys ever heard of Dragon Ball Heroes. It was like a card game with like 1,600 cards, really great strategy game. My first time streaming it, I ended up on that game for 48 hours. We collected every single card, read through every single one, and was just like making builds. So like having that knowledge up front and just being able to tinker with stuff and play with it and lose and be like, oh wait, okay, so there's something we got to change here. It's always been like an interesting thing to me just to like go back to the drawing board. So being able to do this in New Genesis is probably the thing I'm looking forward to the most. But what really excites me is now that everyone's on a clean slate, there is no limitations in being able to play with everyone. You know, we're all only going to get to level 20. It's not that bad. 32 players, so I don't feel bad when it's like, oh, this MPA is only like a 4-player MPA, and then someone else comes in at the last thing, I want to play too. I'm just like, oh man, I'm sorry, it's only 4 players. We can come in next round, and then I completely forget because that whole round took like 50 minutes. So I get to actually just be excited and say, yeah, come on through, man. It's 32 players. Come level yourself up. Enjoy your day with us. Make some friends. And I think that's like the biggest thing. Aside from the content creators, I also want to be able to play with the community itself. And just kind of experience as a whole, because PSO is a family, right? So everything that's about to go down within the next week is just going to be a huge experience that's new to everyone in gaming. Because PSO2 is a very special, very niche feeling when jumping into this game because it's very different. And that's the thing that I'm most excited for, is just to kind of see how New Genesis is going to make everyone feel.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of no, it's all good. Like, we're talking our passions, right? I feel like I've been hyped up to the last prologue, and then I feel like it's not that I'm not excited. I feel like just mentally, like, I've installed in myself this, like, all right, we've had all the information, and until this point, we're just waiting for the game to release. So, like, taper it down a little bit. You're excited, let it simmer, and then once the game comes out, get excited, because otherwise it's just like save the actual hype and the energy for that moment, because otherwise I don't want to waste all my energy now, and then the game comes out and it's like, oh yeah, okay, it's good, you know? I don't want to have that kind of stuff. But there's definitely a lot of uncertainty. I think a lot of us are going to burn through to level 20, and then we're going to kind of then go back to other classes, and I think that's where it's going to slow down. But also, I think there's going to be that 2-week period of us, just grinding, and then we're going to have Gigantics drop, and maybe they're going to drop the next gear set or something. I was talking to my alliance last night, and we think that basically we're going to have like everything on a 2-week schedule or something like that. So hopefully we have content ripping out until at least, like, I'm expecting a lull period of maybe a month before, like, the bouncers drop and everything like that. Which leads us on to our next thing. What class are we going to start with? I know I just mentioned Bouncer, so I'm going to start with Silly.
Yeah, I honestly, I wish Bouncer was at release. I was so hoping for it. I'm glad it was. I'm glad it's announced. I'm glad it's coming. You know, but I guess what I'm starting with. Oh yeah, I honestly think it's going to be October. But No, anyway, sorry. Yeah, I'm probably gonna start with Ranger. To be honest, I think Ranger is just really fun. Might go Tech or Ranger or something like that. It really depends. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm also really partial. I got too many. I'm sorry. I'm also partial to Fighter. I wanted to try the double sabers. You know, that was my big thing. Double sabers look amazing. Hunters with Partis, and there's so many neat things that we didn't get a chance to touch on in CBT and CBT2, or Global CBT and CBT2. Sorry. That I'm just really super into trying at least. But as far as like what I think I'm really gonna stick with, I think I'm gonna go back to my roots at least while we're waiting for Bouncer, and I'm probably gonna go and at least use a rifle, if you can call that a ranger, depending on what combination of classes I'm using.
Yeah, fair. All right.
Yeah, the reveal of Ranger having the skills too for a rifle was neat. Just sorry, wasn't
No,
just an aside.
you go. You got to talk about your class as well now.
Oh yeah. So during the both betas, I focused on Techer and a little bit of Force. But when I was like watching what other people were doing, I think I might actually try Hunter. Like it's the classic, obviously, you know. It's what I started PSO2 NA with. I mean, Force was always like my original because that was PSO. Force was so much more interesting than the other classes, in my opinion. You had techniques, but there were no photon arts. So it was like you could just press one button over and over again, or have all these cool spells.
Yeah.
So that I did that in PSO2 originally, but I don't know, about the time Techer came out, Force just like they nerfed some of the techniques and they made it kind of weaker, and it was like it couldn't really hold its own anymore. And I don't feel like it ever quite reached back at that, because when at PSO2 beta, it was crazy good. It was like a lot of weapons didn't have elements yet, so it was the only one that had like a consistent element bonus. And I feel like it's going to be the same in NGS, but from what I experienced in the beta, their general damage is kind of low. Like their regular barter cast uncharged is not that much more than their basic attack, which is a little disappointing because they do spend PP on it, you know. So I'm hoping with the technique levels we'll see that balance out more. But just Hunter looked cool. I like countering it, since they got rid of time attacks, which the perfect attacks, whatever you want to call them. That's kind of where all the skill of the game shifts to, is like blocking mid thing and then getting the counters. There's a huge payoff in damage. So it seems like a lot of fun. A lot of combos and stuff.
Absolutely. King, what about you? What are you going to start with?
So I'm actually changing up my game plan. I plan to play everything.
Like just every class at once, just like a 6 subclass.
He's the
I'm
onion
gonna
knight,
start
the
from the
secret
very.
character.
I'm gonna start from fighter. I want to use fighter to get gear for every other class, and then once I get like my units set up, I'll have everything set from like the ground up. I'll have armor set for 1 through 10, 10 through 20, and then just like kind of work my way down a little bit more and just do more and more. So I'm excited to do it. It's starting that what years to come to sit now and learn every class from the basics all the way up, and then probably try to get as good as what some people are now in PSO2. Hopefully a new Genesis, if the gameplay ever tends to change up or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I just want to have an answer to everything, really. They say, oh wait, we may need a Tector. I can play Tector. Oh, we need a Bouncer. I can play Bouncer. Oh, we need this. I can play whatever, dude. Just tell me what you need. Then when Gunblade comes out, because I don't really have anything but Gunblade that I actually want to play, so I'll take it all. And then once Gunblade comes out, everything might just get shafted. I'm not gonna lie.
I think in terms of, I've been torn between Tekka, Ranger, and also Force. So I think Ranger at the very bare minimum will be my subclass because it's really good for PP generation. Especially, I think like there was maybe a tech skill we didn't get in the closed beta where basically elemental matching increases photon blast generation. And at least that's what I think, just off the top of my memory. And I think if that's the case, then maybe I don't need to do Ranger, but we'll see what actually I fall into. But
yeah,
Force, I feel like we definitely need a little bit more. What we had of the skill tree wasn't enough to really like benefit the class. And I think like what Dynemanti was saying about the PP and stuff like that, I think like there's probably a whole lot we're missing, like masteries and stuff like that that hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, the basics of it were great. Like the way you move during combat, you like have this like floatiness, the guard, the charge, like it felt good. It just didn't have the damage to back up the work that you put in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like we had like a big glass and they only filled it with like half the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it really lended itself to just kind of, and this is just me from CBT2 because that's what I played, Force Fighter, right? I ended up, whenever I used Force, I just ended up floating really high above the enemy and just kind of like, bow, it's not dying. Bow, bow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. But I like the way you build up the different elements, the what is it, the Zon Cloud or Clout or whatever it's called, and the Barda thing. Those like seem cool. I mean, Foe was a little boring, but and the fact that it's like charge tech changes to a totally different technique is like, I don't know, it's super interesting to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just disappointing to see that it didn't keep up at all in terms of DPS. Like a hunter could do almost twice the damage with his charged and avenging PA and stuff like that. It was like, just a little too low.
Mm-hmm.
But they could fix that. That's an easy fix.
Yeah, and like Fighter has the downed attack stuff where Fighter is going to be a good subclass, I think, for a lot of classes, especially if an enemy's down.
Yeah. Those passives. I was thinking about it with the Ranger too. The bad condition resist and all this stuff. They're really pushing that. They said we're going to add more stuff to make these classes interesting as subclasses, and they're doing it because in the first beta it was like,
Yeah. More active
who
and
cares?
passive, yeah.
Yeah, you had like
basically just Hunter
and Force. That was it.
Yeah. So in terms of content, what do we think is going to be available at launch, and also what might not be obvious that we could expect at launch?
All right, so basically, so content that wasn't obvious that I think may be available. One is those different biomes that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Because we got to see the icescapes, we got to see like the volcano, but we didn't even get to really see those. I thought that was one of the things that they were going to talk about in the prologue 4 and just kind of like expand on that. Cause it was like, yeah, we're just going to see new areas. But then also, as I was saying earlier, we didn't even get to see the forest, and that was something that I was hoping we got to walk into during the beta. But I think the one bit of content that may not come up is just actual UQs, like UQs that we didn't get to play in the beta. There may be cocoons that operate as UQs, but more of like a 4-man team based thing. Is just a little bit harder. I would love to see that. Things that I'm more excited to see, honestly, stronger Gigantics. I want a Gigantics that's going to wreck my whole team and have us rethinking our lives.
Gigantics,
that's the one thing.
Did you see that they confirmed Gigantics are going to be on the 23rd of June launching?
Yes, and I think that was a grand idea simply because like just not giving people that idea. Like, not everyone's keeping up on all this information like we are. We're not here every day. You're playing other games and doing other stuff. So when they come into New Genesis, they're going to see, big Oonga Boonga guy, and they're immediately going to go after big Oonga Boonga guy, and it's going to really halt a lot of people's growth. A lot of people's want to, push and do more, because they're going to be thinking, I see this guy, I want to go fight him. Is there a way to beat him? And without getting that information or without getting stronger, that's not something they're going to be well informed for. So I think it's a really good way for people to, get used to the game first, try to figure some things out, get some fixing done, get some multi-weapons done, get their levels up, understand the game a little bit, and then just say, okay, now Gigantics is coming. Have fun, guys. At this point, if you die, I'm sorry. There's not really much I can do there.
Absolutely.
But I don't know. Really, I'm hoping, I'm trying to keep a lot of it out of my brain, because like I said earlier, when I start thinking and seeing stuff, I start to overthink, and I think about how basic game mechanics kind of go these days, like how everyone just does the same stuff these days. And sometimes I tend to be right, sometimes I tend to be wrong, but it really ruins my hype for the game when I'm just like, I knew that was how it was going to work out. Like, I knew that's how they were going to, design this whole thing. So I try to keep it out of my brain so that that actual excitement can come up when I'm playing. And I'm just like, holy crap, they really did this! Oh my god, guys! And I can have like some genuine excitement, some genuine happiness when experiencing the game.
Yep, that's fair. We'll go for Dynemanti. What content do we think is going to be available at launch, and also content that's maybe not obvious?
Well, they said in the roadmap it was just going to be the area region, the 6 classes, and the level cap of 20. So I'm not really sure. I mean, they showed us the combat areas we saw in the beta, or rather in the previous prologues, the forest. They said that we're going to get that. And if it stays the same, that's like a level 8 area. And then the new destroyed base area is like a level 10 area. So I'm wondering, if we go to 20, is that where the combat areas stop? Or do we have another one that they haven't quite mentioned? Also, there was that lake. What was it? Was it just called Lake Elio? I forget.
It's like Halfa Lake or something.
Yeah.
Halfa, yeah. That they mentioned there's no monster spawn there during the day. And they specifically said those words. No monster spawn during the day.
They said normal hours, remember? It was like okay, what's normal, right?
What if like
I thought they said day. Did they say normal hours, or did they say
yeah, because I remember quoting it exactly. I was like normal hours, and I went in a video and I literally cut that clip normal hours.
What if like there's weather? Will a gigantic spawn with nothing else there, right?
That would be interesting. Like maybe that's a place to go and farm like rather than being the completely random only when it's raining. Maybe that area rains more. It's a lake, so whatever water cycle, maybe they're playing into that. That would be interesting. Maybe it's a place specifically for like cinematic urgent quests, like King was saying. Like we saw that big stinger at the end of the last trailer, where they have that big
the Dorito,
big looking guy,
Space Dorito.
So as far as what's not obvious, I guess it would just be like, what other combat areas? Is that going to be the last one? Because if level 10's the last one, it would sort of fit with what they had in the beta, where level 5 was the last one, and then you had to grind up. And then with Gigantics, because level cap's 20 now, are we going to see those boosted up to 24?
Yeah.
Like you were saying before, are they going to drop a higher rarity? They said 4-star is going to be it at launch. Does that include the Gigantics, or are the Gigantics going to exceed that?
Yeah.
Is that, is that what they meant by launch? Like, is it the launch window, or,
Yeah.
I don't imagine they're going to be adding a whole lot of gear in the first like month or two, honestly, because they want people to like get in and get stuff. But other than that, I'm excited to see the story. Are we going to get more skill point quests? Because there's a lot more skill points we need. The cocoons are not going to cover it unless they're boosting those. Yeah, I don't know. There's so much.
Yeah.
So much in the town, around the city, that's like a mystery.
Yeah.
What is the recycle NPC gonna do?
That's like a huge one for me.
Yeah, I'm like, man, if he can trade like 3 stars into like capsules or something like that, like there's so many interesting things they can do with the new systems.
Yeah. What about you, Silver?
Of course, wild speculation is my specialty, but honestly, there's a lot of things that are really awesome that stand out to me as far as like what I know we're going to get on launch, what I'm speculating when I'm going to get on launch, and what might be down the road. But one of the things I noticed that a lot of people didn't talk about is I think we had 2 Gigantixes in the CBT.
3, I think.
There was a
3.
One was a very low spawn. So they had the one where everyone knew, the big boy. We had the Wallon in just the central area, and then in Southern Elio there was a Banter that was very rare.
That's
it.
Yeah, we actually saw that like on the 3rd day, like at the very end. So that got me thinking about is like, I think one of the big things that people are maybe not discounting, but it's just because of what we've seen, we're kind of thinking about that instead of what could possibly be, right? We're going to see a lot more variety when the game like drops, is what I'm expecting. Like emergency trials so far have just been go here, kill all these guys, or maybe defend the ice cream truck. And I'm thinking we're going to see like a lot more of that stuff. It's going to be a lot different. There's going to be all kinds of things. I'm hoping that it's stuff that expands the world space on the micro detail a little bit. Like I don't know how many times we're going to have the guy from PSO2 Classic come over and crash his plane there. That's an emergency trial or something like that. But I think one of the other things is seeing how the affix system gets expanded. Like one of the things we saw in the beta was we had we had twos, instead of one. We had a progression. We had precision 1, precision 2, precision 3, but they didn't interact when you were affixing.
Yep.
So what if that gets expanded? You were going to see stuff where like you put enough precision 1s in there, it becomes a precision 2, or Dreadkeeper 1s become Dreadkeeper 2s and stuff like that. Things I think you can reasonably expect to expand out a bit. Plus, I mean, obviously you've got the area, the map that we're working with. The area we dealt with was mostly the bigger part of the Aleo region. You're going to have the small Vanford ruins on one side. Next to that is where the Halfa Lake looks like it's going to be. We're going to have West Aleo.
Yep.
And then we're going to have the forest on the top. And I kind of think the opposite. I think the forest is going to be the highest level area. I feel like.
So, yeah.
I think you're going to see that somewhere in your 15s, and I wouldn't be surprised if Gigantics are like scaling difficulties, like they just get higher and higher as you go on. Maybe as our levels increase, our caps go up and stuff like that. Maybe the Gigantics will be brought up to compensate. Just they're going to be in-game stuff that's going to be interesting and fun to hunt down and explore. It reminds me of Final Fantasy 11, where you had unique monsters that had like Leaping Lizzie with their damn boots that you had to search for all the time.
I would say in terms of what content I think like all the stuff we've talked about, but I have a feeling that story is going to be the big gate for content. Like we have to go through story. Also, emergency trials, including story characters, which we didn't see in the closed beta. And yeah, we've got the exchanges like Swap Shop. I want to see what that's going to do. We got the capsule upgrade system or exchange system at the very least. But outside of that, yeah, I'm thinking that like the progression is gonna be, we go Western Elio. I think we're gonna come out the big cave that overlooks the city, and it's gonna be like a big grand moment, and then we're gonna go down the city and start story there. And then I think from there it's gonna go, we'll probably go to Mount Magnus, then to Vanford, and then we'll probably go to Riesel Forest. And then I think at that point we're gonna be hitting like the end game, and at least from where we are. And Gigantics is gonna be a focus, and then yeah. There's an urgent quest. I don't know. Like it's hard to visualize what kind of urgent quest we'll see, right?
It's got to be more doll related stuff, right?
And I think as well, as far as the story goes, I think the Dorito scene or the pizza slice, whatever you want to call it, I think that might be something that we'll end on, and then that'll like set up everything for like future patches and content drops.
Yeah, kind of like how Elder closed off episode 1, like that kind of thing. That could be interesting. But when you were talking just now, it made me think also something that wasn't obvious. We're thinking the region levels have to change, right? Like I'm not the only one who's thinking that, yeah?
Like difficulties?
Like well, I mean, I assume there's going to be difficulties at some point, to touch on what Silly was saying about like Gigantics scaling up with us. I don't think that they're going to do that like dynamically scaling, because then it's like you still want to have points where players, like new players, after like we're level 50, they can still go do Gigantics that are 20 or whatever. So they'll probably add like a hard version. Like that's the PSO2 formula, right? Have your players level up to like 20 or 30, 40 maybe, and then hard version, and then very hard, and then ultra hard. So we haven't seen anything like that yet. So that's a totally blank slate. They could put anything in there. It could be like maybe certain regions only have hard, maybe certain regions have like different stuff. Who knows? But like,
one thing to think
I mean,
of,
like the central area. Sorry, central area was like level 1, right?
Yeah.
Like, is it going to still be level 1 because we have the new starting area?
Think
Sorry,
of it this way as well. Level 20 is a hard threshold for PSO2, and the next level cap's 35. Very hard.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the level caps that we're getting, right?
That's what I was thinking.
I want to see what they're doing. I want to see what they're doing with Western Aleo, because they mentioned explicitly the Western Aleo doesn't have any enemy spawn. So you got to think there's other stuff in there. We've seen a cocoon in one of the little trailer things there. When they were panning through one of the beaches, you saw it up on the cliffside there. But what else is going to happen there? Is there going to be specific stuff going on there? I don't know, events, seasonal things, other stuff there, because that's a huge part of the landmass that, at least again, without maybe there being some misinterpretation or something, they're saying doesn't have enemy spawns.
I thought that was the lake they were saying enemies.
Well, they said the lake was sorry,
Mhm.
my bad.
No,
But
you
the
go on.
lake they said was like, no, it didn't have spawns during normal hours, and they didn't really expand on that. But they said Western Alio was peaceful and did not have enemies, so it was good for screenshotting and things like that. It was a nice little kind of scenery type thing. Now, obviously, who knows how much of that was missed, right, in translation, which wouldn't have been anyone's fault. It's just they were trying to do live content pre-production, but
Yeah.
or they're trying to do pre-production content that's going to be broadcasted. But yeah, if that is the case, what else is going to be there? Because it is a large portion of the land mass that they would obviously want to fill it with something. So
Yeah.
that's a huge big question mark. That's what's going to happen here?
What if when they say peaceful, they mean there's going to be enemies there, but they're just not aggroed enemies?
Just all the Rappies and Lillipins that got over on the PSO2 classic ship, they're just hanging out there.
They're the ones you start leveling on, yeah.
Yeah, when they showed it off as a very beachy area, we knew from the first trailer there was a coastal line there, but the fact that they show this sort of FF10 characters, I was really hoping for oceanids. There's hints of them. If you've seen, there's these little clams and squids that you can pick up on the beach, and they have those glowing lights, just like on Wopal. So they have that. So I was really hoping for those. I like those shark dogs and the little Psyduck enemies.
I'm hoping that's the impetus for more ocean stuff in general, because that was one of the things I felt was lacking in the CBT. Was you have your new swim motion, and it's cool, it's fun, it's neat, it's never been seen before. But when you actually go out there into the sea, you're just kind of floating there. And it's well, this is neat.
Yeah,
but
it's why?
What if? But what if there was stuff out there? I don't know. Animal Crossing, diving down to grab clamshells and stuff. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, also another thing to mention is that when they posted the Puso no Komi thing, it looked like there was a dungeon. Or there was a structure icon, and it might not be a dungeon. It could legitimately be I don't know, a DMV or something.
Is that in the starting area?
It's in the lake area, the big tower thing.
Yeah, it's with the tower around the swamp, right? Yeah. I was interested in that too. I wonder if that's going to be the defense quest that we get in August.
Maybe.
I wonder if that's even something that's going to be, you're going to be defending Central City, which that's the one hub city, right? And it's got all these ramparts and stuff that you can hang out on. But I don't know how they
said
do
it's
that, because
the biggest city on the
close.
planet, right?
Yeah, it's really there's a lot to speculate about, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me think of something other unexpected. There's got to be a new idol. We have a concert hall.
Yeah.
Nobody's talked about it yet.
What if it's just Hollow Cuna?
Let it be Orange, please.
And if it actually turns out to be all three of them, and they're just
imagine.
Super pop band, a idol pop band, underground idols, that'd be so great.
Yep.
What if it's just Baylet got bored of being the strongest and just decided to be the cutest too, and decided to be an idol? She's immortal after all. She just comes in 1,000 years in the future, and now she's no one remembers who I used to be.
Yeah.
I'm not against this.
What about do we think the launch will be limited in terms of content? I think I just want to set the tone. It's we've got to tame our expectations. There's a lot we want to see with New Genesis, but we can't expect it all at once, right?
True.
Yeah. I think a lot of it's going to be held back. That's why they haven't talked about it. We saw the roadmap. They said Area region 6 classes, level cap at 20. Yeah. They showed us supposedly these are all the areas that are coming at launch. So we kind of know everything at this point. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot. I don't think we're going to see Volcano or anything. But I'm hoping there's going to be just enough story and just enough another Urgent or something that just enough to carry us for that month or until the Weblink event, and we'll see. Maybe that'll spice things up with the Gigantics dropping. Maybe there'll be some other form of bosses.
Yeah.
More cocoons.
Yeah, that's
My bad.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say I definitely think that that maybe the production schedule was advanced a little bit. Like I said, I personally would have given them another year if they asked for it. I would have been like, yeah, just go ahead and get what you got to get done. But we were talking about this last time we got together, Dynamanti, about the release date for New Genesis back when it wasn't announced, and we were speculating, and we were like,
the fact that they dropped it.
There's no way it's gonna. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say just the fact that they dropped it, like they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna next week. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I remember it being a summer release was a huge point of contention. It was like, well, no, they never drop stuff in summer. JP never does that. What are they talking about? They never drop stuff in summer. And here it is. And I'm wondering how much of that was, it was moved up a bit or something like that. And that's why, we're going to have stuff down the road that's going to come out. And it's definitely going to be a little limited to begin with. But the fact that they've got a plan for it, they've got the roadmap out, and we know at least to a certain extent when we can expect more. In 6 months is not that bad for a roadmap. It's not like when Global came out and it was a year down the line and a lot more was vague about it because which is not bad. I mean, they did what they had to, but yeah, it was a lot more vague and it was a lot more extended. 6 months with specifics coming this month, coming this season. The season's only like 3 months. You're talking about Bouncer. Might be as soon as September, might be as late as November, but that's still a really good range of months. That's not bad. Yeah. Like honestly, I'm madly looking forward to this stuff.
You gotta think about it too. Like, sorry, what was you gonna say?
I was just gonna ask the next person, but you go.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say something real quick. It's just so 6 months from a game starting off, it's actually not bad. It's way better than a year. So I do agree with you on that one. And then the thing is, they seem like they already know what they're going to do with everything leading up these next 6 months. And then, ending off with Gunblade is just like, okay, so this is basically going to keep you guys here until we figure out what to do with the next couple of months. Maybe some crossovers, maybe some this, but you guys get to enjoy the game for these next 6 months. I'm all good. As long as they have a plan for what they're going to do, I will never complain, right? But if it's just like how PSO used to be, kind of, sort of, and we just kind of come in episode 1, we grind everything, we're just like, all right, what's next? And then we have to wait week after week to actually get the content. We don't know if they have a plan or not. That's where it gets kind of concerning, but it's good to know that they have a plan ahead of time.
Yeah, I think it kind of sets a precedent if they've already announced this, that we should be getting PSO2 station. How is that going to happen now? And will the next one be like, all right, we're up to date with content, this is the next stuff, we're going to have this Summoner Gunblade stuff drop next, but after this point, this is what to expect.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's another advantage when we talk about why did they make it PSO2 NGS and not PSO3. This is part of that as well. It's they have this framework, right? We have the Summoner, we know what the classes are, right? They've been holding them back from revealing them. The Gunblade class isn't called Luster, right? They just said a Gunblade class. So there's room for them to change things, but they still have a framework of here's what people liked and expect from this game. And so that we have this next year of content kind of sort of already have an idea for what's going to happen. It's loose. It's not completely going to be exactly the same, but I wonder what's going to happen the next year after that, or the year after that. Are we going to see more like the JP side where they had a year or two between episodes, and then hopefully because they are doing a roadmap thing, hopefully they're going to be a little more communicative, because like King was saying, there was some lulls there, and not that was bad. Nobody wants to go full steam. Honestly, I'm worn out from PSO2 NA's schedule. I feel like I never I was I started to get to where I felt like I was finished with an episode, and then the next one would drop and it'd be okay, still trying to scramble up the ladder, and I felt all the way to the end where I haven't done Hatred yet, and I feel like I'm gonna miss out on that now that NGS is dropping. Hopefully someday I'll do it. But so I
you finished? Go.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to, after the first 2 or 3 months when they deluge us with new content, we get sort of a little slowdown, a little more oh, hey, log in, do some dailies. oh, the new Final Fantasy 14 Endwalker drop. I'm gonna go play that for a week.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't have time to do anything else this last year for PSO2. Like, I was like, gotta make the money, gotta get the accessories, gotta do this, gotta do that,
Yeah,
And so, might not be too bad to have it a little slower.
definitely. I was gonna mention like probably I think we've covered like everything we're gonna talk about, and
Mhm.
before we have it go to 2 hours or something like that.
Uh,
But where can we find? We'll start with Silver Silly Games. Where can we find you online?
I stream every Monday morning, Wednesday morning, Friday morning, and every other Saturday night currently on twitch.tv/SilhyGames. And I'm over on YouTube, which I don't really have a definitive upload schedule for that, but I try to get something out every couple of days if I can. If not, you can always watch VODs. Hey.
Yep. And where can we find Dynemanti online?
So I use the name Dynemanti everywhere. You can find me on, Twitch, YouTube. I'm going to be trying and doing more of both of those things, but mostly more Twitch going forward. Twitter. If you just hit me up there, I will update anytime I do something new, live, new video. And yeah, just anywhere you just search that name, you'll find me.
We'll have
Vimeo.
We have the links in the show notes as well if anyone wants to click them and go follow. And also check when people are online for streams and stuff like that. And also, King, where can we find you?
Yo. You can always find me at YouTube and Twitch at XingKazma, and now also on TikTok at XingKazma, where there's about 4 funny PSO2 clips, I guess.
Interesting. You can find me around the place at Anamana AU, Twitch, YouTube, not Twitch anymore. I don't stream to Twitch anymore, but for whatever reason, like in the future, maybe something will change and I'll stream to Twitch, but you can find me there. But otherwise, YouTube, majority of my content is there, and Twitter and Instagram, Anamana AU. But yeah, I'm Anamana. This was XingKazma and also SilhyGames and Dynemanti. We'll catch you next time. Appreciate everyone. And we've got one way to close out, what King will guide us with.
So guys, at the end of every stream, we tend to close out with a until next time, and may your guiding light shine. Does everyone think we can spew that together?
So until next
I think
time,
we can do it.
make your guiding light shine. So
Until next time.
Should we count it
Oh,
down?
sorry. Yeah.
All right. 3,
Opens our list a little bit.
2, 1. Until next
Until
time.
next time.
And may your
And may your
guiding
guiding
light
light
shine.
shine.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.